Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch Team is here with your latest update on the tropics. We got quite a bit that we do need to talk about today. Heavy rain already beginning to impact southeast Texas from the Index 95L, as you can see here. Very heavy amounts of rain just sitting right off the coast. Jamaica Beach getting some of those heavier rains. More moderate rain over the peninsula here, and I can't think of the name of this right now, but over portions of southeast Texas, windy, getting quite a lot of moderate heavy rain. This is going to move inland, as you can see. Not a whole lot in the Houston area, but over southeast Texas, there is majority of the heavy rain should stay off the coast, and that is, some of the models are saying some of the heaviest rain will stay off the coast, and up to around a foot of heaviest rain is going to fall, and up to a foot of rain could fall in the next several days, 12 inches or so. And some of that heavy rain, again, is going to stay off the coast of the southeast coast. Louisiana, southwest Louisiana could also get some heavy rain. Flooding is not expected with this system. However, some of the worst conditions are just really going to be heavy rain. Gusty winds, that's a possibility. You could certainly see some gusty winds also. I do also want to just point out that we're going to have some gusty winds in here. I do want to point out some of these cells here. They're just moving around out here. Maybe some hail. No, I don't really think there's really any hail because these do look up into the atmosphere because they're at a 0.5 degree angle roughly. And so when they do that, they look higher up into the atmosphere the farther out away. And so they may be showing some hail here. But that's what we got with this. This is going to be moving inland. I am going to put this into motion just for the past hour roughly so you have an idea. So as you can see, there's a little bit of motion here. I don't know how far I could put this into motion. That's for 1 hour. Every time I do that, it doesn't load and really get going. So I'll just do the past hour for the best high resolution data, and we're already seeing this glitch a little bit because we are using this in motion. But I'm going to try to slow this down a little bit. Maybe it's going to be a little bit smoother. But with what we have here, we do have quite a bit of heavy rain moving into southeast Texas right now. Closely monitoring Galveston, getting a lot of heavy rain as the storm gets closer. Currently, the center of the center of it is right here with winds of about 35 miles an hour. It's only moving at 7 miles an hour. As this does begin to move north, we're going to see that moisture be funneled and pushed up into the coast of Texas. So we're going to see a lot more heavy rain for sure. Oh, wonderful. Alright. I don't think WSV3 is wanting to work right now. It's wanting to glitch and freeze up. Which sucks. Alright, looks better now. Zoom into this area again and try to get radar. That's not weird at all. That's such a defined line between what it can and what it can't see right there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the storm and what we're going to be seeing with this storm. I'm going to do just a tiny little small update here and just sort of talk about what we're going to see with this system here. But as you can see, that's where the storm is at. If we do in fact put this into motion, we can in fact see this is where the storm is rotating. We're starting to see, you can clearly see, just based on the satellite imagery, it is moving northwest. Alright, I'm going to get out of WSV3 because clearly WSV3 is not working great right now. It is just freezing up on me. And yeah, the moment I get out of it, it like goes really smooth again. So clearly we won't really be able to use WSV3 for much longer because, well, until I get a more powerful computer, it's just simply not going to be able to work because my computer is just simply not powerful enough. It just freezes, it glitches. Yeah. So, potential Tropical Cyclone 2, here we go. 35 knots, 1,008 millibars. It is, as you can tell, the air pressure is dropping slowly but surely. Air pressure down to 1,008 millibars. As you can see here, 35 knots. Here's some deep thunderstorm activity occurring in the system. Some rotation for sure with this system. Not a lot of rotation, that's for sure, but what we do have is a little bit more thunderstorm activity. Once again, yes, this storm has been extremely difficult to predict because we were like, okay, it's going to become a tropical storm, it's going to become a tropical storm, it's going to become a tropical storm. And, well, it hasn't. This has been, honestly, one of the longest lasting potential tropical cyclones I've ever known in my life, if I'm being honest. That's crazy. It feels like weeks. Yeah, it's been, I think, was it the 29th? 28th, I think, or something like that. I'll have to go back and see, but potential tropical cyclone 6, or 2, I don't even know where I got 6 from, but potential tropical cyclone 2 has been potential tropical cyclone 2 for a very long time. I think 3 days now. It's been such a long time. So I'm going to go to the National Hurricane Center here and sort of show y'all how long this system has been a potential tropical cyclone and look at the first advisory that came out from the National Hurricane Center. Just so we have an idea, this system's got a very low chance of development, if any. If anything, they're going to get some rain in that area. I do think they need a little bit of rain. They haven't gotten a lot, but well-needed rain in that area. And so they're going to get some moisture. Potential Tropical Cyclone 2 continues to move up to the west at 1,009 millibars at a 90% chance of development in the next 48 hours and a 90% chance in the next 5 days. With this system, it's still at a 40% chance. It is slowly going to start falling apart. So they're saying recent satellite and radar imagery indicate that showers and thunderstorms associated with the air pressure are showing limited signs of organization. Disturbance is forecast to turn northwestward and move slowly over southeast Texas. Later today, some development of the system is possible while the low remains over water and could still become a short-lived tropical depression before it moves inland. So we're there's still a possibility, 40% chance. Not a great possibility, but we're going to watch and see what we get out of this. So, potential tropical cyclone 2, here we go. So if I click on archive, you can see all the advisories. Monday, June 27th, 2022 was the first time it got recognized as a tropical system. Monday, June 27th, 2022. At 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. And there it was. There's the first advisory, AL02 2022. And yeah, this was the first advisory again, as you can see just by the date, 5 p.m. Monday, June 27th, 2022. So it has been a potential tropical cyclone since Monday, all of Tuesday, all of Wednesday. Now we're going into 8 a.m. Thursday, remaining a potential tropical cyclone. And for what we see right now, very little signs of development and organization occur. If I go to visible high-resolution satellite, you can see the area of low pressure. It has a low, an LLC, a low-level circulation. There is rotation, but now, what are we lacking now? Deep thunderstorm activity near the center. And now that it's moving over the Western Caribbean, I do in fact think, and eventually, we think this is going to become a potential, it's going to become a tropical storm here, hopefully by 10 a.m., but honestly, if we don't see deep thunderstorm activity occurring, we're not going to see a tropical storm. If we continue to lack that convection and it continues to lack organization, we're hoping 10 a.m. potential tropical cyclone, but I don't think that's going to happen. Well, I keep saying potential tropical cyclone. I've been saying it so much. Tropical storm Bonnie at 10 a.m., but that most likely will not happen. So I do think maybe, this afternoon into this evening, into tonight, it might be named Tropical Storm Bonnie. But again, that's really going to take, another 12 hours to get itself going. So we're going to see what we're going to see tonight when we get this next update will be at 10 a.m. here and about the next 20 minutes from the National Hurricane Center. Yes, it usually really develops at night, but it does look a lot better. You can definitely see a LLC there is exposed. There is some convection around and near the low-level circulation, but we need much more deep thunderstorm activity. And we'll see this. I do believe we'll see more of this as this moves over the Western Caribbean. And just so y'all know, just for reference, it is extremely rare to see systems just hug the northern South American coastline through Colombia, Venezuela, and northeastern countries countries in the northeastern South America. Just so you know, that's just an extremely rare thing to see. You never see anything like that at all. So that's something that we never see. Dry Typhoon Warning Center, RE number 90. Yep, we are going to be talking about that also today. I just do want to do these little updates on PTC2 and talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing with the tropical systems in the West Pacific. Also, we do have Tropical Depression 5, and then we have Tropical Storm Chaba. I'm going to do this. So as you can see, there's Tropical Storm Chaba. Deep thunderstorm activity looks a lot better. It will be making landfall here in the next several days. You can see that deep thunderstorm activity. I actually want to go to Zoom Earth because I think they do get better. Dang it. I don't have this saved. Weird. Oh no, I need live satellite. And perfect. I'm gonna see if there's any radar in this region. Just because I'm curious. No, there's really no radar, just way over here. There's a few radar sites over here, and we'll see some other radar sites probably in this area as the storm does make landfall. If that's even the case. I hate these ads. I just freaking hate these ads. My whole computer is just not going great. Not going fast. So you can see, oh yeah, it's got winds of tropical storm force for sure. As you can see, those winds are measuring at around 50 miles an hour based on satellite estimates, I think, by what we believe what winds we have down here. So I'm going to turn off the wind. I'm also going to turn off the, no, I want labels. Tropical storms. And then just put this into motion so we have an idea of what we're looking at here. So you can definitely see deep thunderstorm activity. It might actually make landfall near Hong Kong. Hong Kong is such a teeny tiny Chinese administration region that it's probably not going to make landfall there just because of how small it is. The odds of that actually happening, I don't think are very, very good. So, what we have here, you can definitely see deep thunderstorm activity near the center of circulation. There's good rotation. There's no wind shear cutting across the storm. There is no dry air inhibiting development of the system. There's nothing really inhibiting this storm from really developing. Sea surface temperatures are warm. The only thing that's going to inhibit this from becoming really massive is just its speed. It's going to be a relatively quick moving storm. If it was moving slower, this would be, because it's already expected to reach typhoon status at about 65 knots, 75 miles an hour there, as it continues to make its way to the north. We're going to try to do we're going to do a live coverage when this makes landfall. We'll try to do live coverage when all the systems make landfall, but I do have work when this makes landfall, so it's going to be very, very difficult to how we're going to put this all together. So this is what we got here in terms of what we're looking here with wind speeds. You can certainly see the wind speeds are very, very strong, especially in the northeastern quadrant, where we're seeing winds at 50 miles an hour. As you can see, their winds are at 50 miles an hour. Can I actually? But as you can see, yeah, winds have gotten stronger. It's also hot in Trinidad right now, barely any rainfall. I did hear, even though it did make landfall, not a lot of actual rain occurred because I think the center was a little bit exposed or something. It just really didn't look good. It wasn't well developed. It was just not. The storm was just a mess. The storm, when it went over Trinidad, was, honestly, a complete mess. Oh, I forgot to turn something on. Hold up. But as you can see, there is tropical. You can see there's wind speeds. As this continues to make its way close to the radar site, we're going to see the storm come into view, which will be interesting and pretty nice. Okay, if you're gonna open or not. Is it? It's not gonna open for me. Is this a problem? Can you work? I'm trying to do this thing with Snaz so we can get everything to work properly, but it's not wanting to run, and I don't know why. Hold up. Yeah, it won't open up. I don't know why. For whatever reason, it's not wanting to open up at all whatsoever. Which is indeed and admittedly a problem, because that's what... There we go. Finally. Lord Almighty. Took you long enough to open up. My God, my computer is slow as hell. Holy crap almighty on earth. Woo! This was the second storm to break apart landfall. I mean, it just completely fell apart. But I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to go to Joint Typhoon Warning Center and talk about what to expect in this area. Oh, look at that pride stuff. Yes, love that. Joint Typhoon Warning Center. So as you can see, we do have Tropical Storm Chaba right here, as it is continuing to make its way to the north. Here it is. Here's warning number 4, infrared satellite imagery. As you can see, deep thunderstorm activity in this area. Have Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, Philippines. Then you have this reef right here, which is pronounced as the Scarborough Reef. Yeah, Scarborough Reef. Vietnam. I want to say this is Laos. No, this is Laos. Oh, this is Vietnam here, right on the edge. Here's Laos. Vietnam there, but this is what we're seeing here with the system. We're seeing rotation, we're seeing deep thunderstorm activity, and we're seeing the storm continuing to intensify. I do think when the next update comes out, we could see this be upgraded to 50 miles per hour. It does seem to be developing pretty quickly. They are saying this wind already has winds of 50 miles an hour. So this could actually become a moderately strong typhoon here in the West Pacific for June. For June. Not a strong typhoon. A strong typhoon is like 180 miles an hour, 190 miles an hour, like catastrophic stuff. As the news for Trinidad and Tobago, 2 houses got damaged. One got a roof ripped off, and one collapsed on itself due to heavy rainfall. No injuries were recorded. Well, that's good that no injuries were recorded, but it's really sad to see all these, negative things occurring in Trinidad. It's really, really sad. And the hurricane watch team feels sorry for the people who are going through the hard times there in Trinidad. So I'm trying to see, typhoons are crazy when they deepen. Incredibly, look, if you look at we go here and we look at the infrared, look at the convection. There's lots of pinks, there's lots of lift, there's lots of vertical motion. My cat's in here. You can really see the vertical motion and the atmosphere right there. Deep, and I mean deep thunderstorm activity. I cannot even explain. That's like negative 95 degrees centigrade right there. That's easily up 60,000 feet up. The storms are severe thunders. I can't explain how altitude wise is huge, but incredibly deep thunderstorm activity near the center of circulation. So this is really intensifying. It's really organizing very well. You can clearly see the entire system is rotating around the center of circulation. There's going to be heavy rainfall with this. All right. There could be up to 65 to 75 mile an hour winds when it makes landfall. It's going to be very, very strong. Moderately strong, I should say. I don't want to say super strong. I mean, it's going to be a typhoon. It could be a typhoon. Joint typhoon warning says we think this could be a moderately strong system. Water temperatures are very, very warm in this portion of the West Pacific, over 30 degrees centigrade, 85, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And so when you don't have a lot of wind shear, you don't have a lot of dry air, and you have lots of warm water, there's nothing to keep this from intensifying rapidly. The only thing that's going to keep this from intensifying to a major hurricane or the extremely major typhoon is really going to be the speed that this is going to be moving at. When this does, this is going to be making landfall here in a couple of days. I think by tomorrow night into Saturday, I think Saturday morning or something. Saturday is going to be making landfall. So this has got a couple of days. I don't know, 24, 48 hours, something like that. And it's going to be making landfall there in South China. They can really see that deep thunderstorm activity. Very, very fascinating. Very, very incredibly powerful storm there as it approaches South China. Here it is again. You can just see that big blob of convection there. If I go to the zoomed out version, water vapor, you can really see the water vapor. You can see the deep thunderstorm activity, dry air around it in relation to its current conditions. Look at that. This thing is huge. You're looking at this. This thing is like the size of the South China Sea. This thing is freaking huge. Look at that thing. You look at that compared to the Philippines right there. This thing is huge. And the Philippines is a massive country. I don't say massive. It's not like the size of China or anything, or Russia, but you can really see it's a pretty big system. Very, very large. These systems in the West Pacific can be huge. One of the largest systems I can think of off the top of my head was Typhoon Tip at 1,800 miles wide back in 1979. Typhoon Haiyan was also an incredibly massive storm. And these storms, there's not a Saharan air layer. There's no massive desert to blow sand and extremely large amounts of dry air into the West Pacific. The West Pacific is huge. Any dry air from this iron desert is going to have to go pretty much all the way around the world just to get back, just to get to the West Pacific. It's going to have to go thousands of miles. And by that time, you get all this moisture in the atmosphere, and it is really no dry air in the West Pacific. Compared to the North Atlantic, there's much more dry air in the North Atlantic than compared to the West Pacific. Yeah, the storms of the West Pacific just deepen like crazy. Storms are very, very fascinating. I'm actually kind of glad we're able to get better satellite imagery of the storms in the West Pacific. Did they like launch? I don't know. I don't know if they launched because like now we're not really seeing. We're getting much better satellite imagery for the West Pacific, which is really, really nice. This is that other system. Right now it's pretty weak. It is expected to intensify up to 60 miles an hour, but then it is going to weaken as I'll have to see the conditions and what it's going to be going through. But it does appear to be weakening. Unfortunately, Japan is going to be on the west side. So this is going to be moving right through that area and be bringing pretty gusty winds through these islands right in this area. I mean, it could be making landfall. They're 50, 60 miles an hour. HIMAWRI 8 is the best satellite for the West Pacific. I can't even pronounce how you even pronounce that. What is that? What is HIMAWRI? Oh my. They have mesosectors now for the West Pac? Dude, I feel. Wow. I didn't know that. They have mesosectors for the West Pacific. Holy crap. Dude, what happened? Just so you know, like, I remember when I was covering these storms just a couple, like, last year, we didn't have this. You know, we were, like, looking at these crappy side images from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. You know, you couldn't really, you could tell it was convection. It just really didn't even look that good. But now we're getting high-resolution satellite images of the West Pacific. I mean, that's incredible. You know, I mean, I'm glad. Finally, I'm like, wow, we got more high-resolution satellite of the West Pacific. Freaking finally. That's incredible. Because, like, again, like, since I was doing updates here, over the past several years, we didn't have this. I don't remember when this happened. I don't know if NASA or SpaceX, or another space agency launched a satellite into space so we can have this, or if they just allowed it to the public. And they've always had it, and they're just now allowing it to the public. That's incredible. Yeah, that now with those are the worst and the best, because it's the worst because you prepared. It's the best because now you don't got to worry about it. The real worst ones are when you don't think it's going to hit you, and then the track changes, and then boom, you get hit by a major hurricane. That's the worst. And it really sucks. But I'm going to make this update moderately, kind of quick and short. I don't want to spend all day on it. But this is what we have with that storm in the West Pacific. Now that we actually have a high-resolution satellite, which I didn't know about, this is what we have. You can see deep thunderstorm activity near the center. This is going to continue to make its track towards the north and make landfall in China. Very, very, very dangerous system here. That is for sure, without a doubt. Tropical Depression 5 here you can see in the West Pac, which I don't even know how to do that. Just kind of got immediately click on that. I know it's the middle of the nighttime. Over there, if I look at, I'll just look at the water vapor. So you can see, if you look through here, you can kind of see wind shear. You can see wind shear coming up through here. Wind shear blowing southward. So there is a little bit of wind shear. It looks like, I'll have to go to the National or the Joint Typhoon Warning Center and see what they're saying about this system. But it does look like it could be wind shear, and then maybe some wind shear cutting across like this through here, and then wind shear. Because you can kind of see this, because you can see the storm trying to, some clouds developing, and they get sheared off. So it looks like there's shear moving through here. This image right here, there's a lot. There's an upper level trough right here. You can see this right through here, I think, or it's a high pressure. I did just like a lot going on in this image right here, but we got a lot to talk about. So let's go to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center and see what they're talking about for Invest 98W. So as you can see here, here is the latest image. That little ridge right there, I think is a trough. I think an upper level trough. I could be wrong. Wind shear looks to be messing around with it, but it's trying to develop. So let's see what they're saying about what they're saying from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center about their system. Tropical Depression 5, warning number 1, active tropical cyclones in the northwestern Pacific, maximum sustained winds based on 1 minute average, wind radii valid over open waters only. That's where it's currently positioned at 19.3 degrees north, 130.9 degrees east. In the past 6 hours, it's moving only at 4 knots. Position within 60 nautical miles. Located by satellite present wind distribution. Maximum sustained winds are 25 knots. That's about 30 miles per hour. I'm going to see what they're saying down here. So these are their remarks. So they're just saying that the Tropical Depression 5 is located approximately 465 nautical miles south-southeast of Kadena, AB, which don't know what that is. Has tracked north-northwestward at about 4 knots over the past 6 hours. Maximum significant wave height at the 30th at 1200 UTC is 9 feet, which is actually pretty incredible. 9 feet for a tropical depression at 30 miles an hour. Pretty incredible. Airbase is AB. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So there's an Air Force. AB Air Force Base, right? Air Force Base or something like that. Or, yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Refer to Tropical Cyclone Chaba warnings. So, because we'll also be looking at Chaba also because of what we could be seeing with this system also. I want to see what the prognostic reasoning is, so we get an idea of kind of from a meteorological standpoint what's sort of going on with this system. So again, significant wave height is 19 feet, which is, you know, these storms in the West Pacific just are absolutely massive, and they can create huge waves. And again, it's barely a tropical storm at 40-45 miles an hour. I think it's at 45 miles an hour there, and it's producing wave heights of 19 feet. That just blows my mind, you know. A low-end tropical storm bringing wave heights of 19 feet. That's crazy. Satellite analysis and initial position and intensity discussion. So they're saying the animated enhanced infrared satellite imagery depicts spiral bands of deep convection wrapping into a persistent deep convective cloud structure. At the 30th at 1050 UTC, the 91 gigahertz microwave image depicts formative convective banding in all quadrants, with several additional convective bands to the south and west of the low-level circulation. This is the LLC. The initial position is placed on high confidence based on the EIR, which is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery, the EIR enhanced infrared. So they're behind a T2.5 is showing 45 knots. So some of the models are currently showing 45 knots. 45 knots is 50 miles an hour. Forecast is favorable. So vertical wind shear 15 to 20 knots, very, very light. Sea surface temperatures 29 to 30 degrees centigrade. And we do have moderate westward outflow, which is very, very good. So it does have a very favorable environment to reach a potential. So they are saying the wind shear, there's moderate divergence aloft and low moderate vertical wind shear between 9 and 16 knots, which will allow Chaba, this is the storm that we're watching that has a deep thunderstorm activity, to reach a potential possible maximum intensity of 70 knots. We begin to interact with both the island of Hainan and eventually mainland China, significantly impacting the intensity of the system. Continues to track northwestward between TAU 48 and TAU 96. Tropical Cyclone 04W will steadily. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. based on what I'm seeing, it's got very good conditions, and prior to landfall, it's going to basically cut a little bit of water from here. All right, so if we look at the graphic, you can see they are expecting, from what we're seeing right now, 45 miles an hour. That wind field though, no Hong Kong, because it'll be making landfall west of Hong Kong. Hong Kong, the tropical storm force wind field is so big, Hong Kong could possibly get tropical storm force winds. The latest update from the National Hurricane Center did just come out. Hold on, I do want to pull up some better satellite imagery of this. We do have more satellite imagery that I do want to pull up because it's great. It's loading, y'all. But with what we're seeing with this tropical system in the West Pacific, I do have reason to believe that this storm is going. Okay, this is all in Chinese. Is this the Chinese government? Okay. I don't know, maybe this is a Chinese website. I want to see Chaba. If this thing would load, that would be nice. Would be very nice. Please load. Is there not one for Chaba? What the freak is going on? I do apologize about this. This thing is being very, very slow and I'm not liking it. I have to hit enter. Enter. Also, RECON has taken off. There's a new O2L update for O2L. From what I understand, it is still a potential tropical cyclone. Prior to landfall, O2L is in fact expected to make landfall with wind of about 65 miles an hour. We will see. Oh my god, I've never seen the website take this long to load. Alright guys, I will be right back. I have got to go to the bathroom, so I will be right back. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on. You shouldn't Alright, guys, I am back. So, we're gonna continue to talk about the impacts. I'm gonna look at some models that for the systems in the West Pacific, and also other systems that could possibly develop within the next 120 hours. So, we're gonna talk about those models too. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to go in the chat and comment any questions that you may have. So as you can see here, it is. You can see here, they're saying 40 knots. They're saying 991 millibars. I do think this may even reach up to 45 knots here pretty soon, because there's just such an extreme amount of convection in this system. You know, I honestly, given what we have, sometimes I wonder if we'll ever get a storm that looks. I wonder, because the National Hurricane Center is very, very interesting sometimes, and even when a storm looks like a tropical storm, they'll still say it's a depression. This thing takes so long to load, so I don't know which one I'm trying to look for. Yeah, it's just taking way too long. I cannot use this. It's taking an extremely long time. Okay, back to this. I'm going to go to the National Hurricane Center and give you all an update on potential Tropical Cyclone 2 and show you all what we have here. So here's the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's still a disturbance. It is now over the southwestern Caribbean Sea and is expected to become a tropical storm later today. Tropical storm warnings have been issued for portions of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. So if I go to graphics and I go to this, see, there we go. We now have tropical storm warnings are now in effect for Nicaragua, and hurricane watches remain in effect. If this does happen to undergo intensification and it begins to rapidly intensify, there is that possibility that this storm could in fact become a hurricane. Still very, very low chance of that, still saying about 65 miles an hour. The only time this could actually happen is if we see some extreme rapid intensification. With what we're seeing right now, that's just does not seem to be the case right now at all. Continue to look at this. If we look at visible high resolution and we take a look into what we got here, you can see the center circulation. Some more convection happening near the center circulation, but it's still got a long ways to go before the storm begins to intensify and we get a tropical storm out of this. It's got a long ways to go still. So it's getting there though. Alright, back to Chaba. Again, deep thunderstorm activity 991 millibars. It is expected to make landfall as a strong tropical storm, possibly a typhoon in the West Pacific. At 974 millibars there. 967 millibars. And then obviously weakening quite rapidly. The modeling from this is just insane. I mean, look at this. 980, 970. So, I mean, as this approaches, we could see this intensify to a Category 2 typhoon. As those winds could exceed 100 miles an hour. Yeah, the Himawari 8 mesosector. Very, very incredible and very, very useful. Especially seeing the deep thunderstorm activity in convection with this. I mean, look at that. It's just exploding and spreading out. You look at this. This is at least negative 90. Look how dark some of these colors are. Negative 85 to negative 90 degrees centigrade is extremely hot. Or extremely cold and extremely high up in the atmosphere. Are we getting close to a tropical storm yet for PTC2? So with potential tropical cyclone 2, let me just show you what we got here. I think this is the right one, yeah. So as you can see here, you do have the center circulation. The National Hurricane Center, and they have airplanes that are flying into this right now. They have one headed right down there, and they're going to go see if they can find a center circulation. If they can find a closed low, and this can get a little bit more activity going on down there, They may designate this as Tropical Storm Bonnie. But from what I'm seeing right now, there is a LLC. You can see it's like right there. From what I see right now, this just does not look well developed enough. There's not a lot of convection near the center. So the closest convection is well to the north and to the west, and well to the north and to the east of the center circulation. Storm does not look good enough. There you go. There's deep thunderstorm activity north of this storm. There's not a lot of deep thunderstorm activity at the center of the storm, which tells me that the storm is still not looking well developed enough to become a tropical system at all. But if we can get a little bit more convection near the center circulation, it can organize itself a little bit better as this continues to move westward over the Western Caribbean. Then I believe we could get a tropical storm, and that name would be Bonnie. For the one in the Gulf of Mexico, I don't think it's going to be named. Most likely won't become a depression, but regardless of the one in the Gulf of Mexico, it's still going to bring heavy rain to southeast Texas and southern Louisiana. Let's see what we got here. Heavy rainfall in South Trinidad. Oh, is there? Maybe there is. Hold on, let me look at. Let me look at. Here. There could be. Wouldn't be surprised. No, there does not appear to be any convection near Trinidad at all. Is it slowing down? Yes, the storm in the Western Caribbean is starting to slow down because it's moving farther away from the high pressure, and so it is not able to. It's not being as influenced, and it is not being. It is not being as influenced by the high pressure as it continues to move westward. I do think it's going to slow down, and it's going to start developing more and more. It's going to be starting to develop better, and it's going to be more defined in the future. Aircraft reconnaissance here, as you can see, they're going to go down there and see what they can get out of the system. Right now, this is where they are. Where they left, I say it's St. Croix, as you can see, they came down here, and they're in this convective band right here. There was lightning and thunder last night. Oh wow, interesting. Not surprised. Very, very interesting. Yes, not a problem at all. So as you can see right here, there's two planes going on there. This is an unassigned mission, and then you have the Air Force. You have NOAA going on there, and you have the Air Force going down there too. So as you can see, they are making their way towards that center of the storm very soon. We're not getting any air pressure readings right now, but as they get close to that storm, we'll probably get more air pressure readings, and we'll get a better update on where the system is going to go. I do want to look at forecast models for potential Tropical Cyclone Two. They're already making it seem like it looks way better than it really does. It does not have all this deep thunderstorm activity near the center. So I do believe that this is going to be an overachiever. But 993 millibars upon landfall. Well, that looks like it's got an eye and everything. In southern Nicaragua. If we take a look at the wind speed, you can see here it does show wind speeds of about only 50 miles an hour roughly. 50, 60 miles an hour. We'll see how strong it really becomes as this does. Yeah, as you can see here. I don't know why it said it moved that, it did not move that far north. And it didn't make landfall that far south. And now it doesn't even show up on the page. Yeah, it shows it does have tropical storm force winds, but I don't know how fast this storm is going to organize, and that's something we're going to wait for. The moment we start seeing the storm organizing, we'll get an idea of a trend, and then the National Hurricane Center will, the closer the storm gets to landfall, the more organized and the more organized it becomes, the better the forecast track is going to be for potential Tropical Cyclone 2, which will be more than likely eventually Tropical Storm Bonnie. Most likely there will be heavy rain and flooding for Nicaragua, unfortunately. But for right now, don't got too much going on in that area right now. Curious what some of these models are saying for Chaba. I think the storm looks a lot more organized than that. They're saying actually relatively strong. 980 millibars. Very broad, not a lot of thunderstorm activity or convection. Thunderstorms near the center. Curious. Okay, 960 millibars seems a little intense, don't you think? Bruh. Yeah, right now they're saying in 6 hours, it will be 986 millibars. Which is technically possible because of how fast the storm has developed and how well the storm has gone through convection. If we take a look at lower dynamics and we look at the 10 meter wind speed, you can see here we go all the way to 0 hours, 47 knots. Some of the models are showing up to 50 miles an hour, but they do expect this to, as you can see, approach 72 knots. That's about 80 to 85 miles an hour. So it does show the storm becoming a relatively moderately to an intense system. We do believe this does have the possibility to become an 80 mile an hour typhoon. And this could be a moderately strong typhoon for sure. Nothing over the top, nothing super crazy. We're not going to be dealing with a major typhoon, 120 miles an hour making landfall. That's something we're not going to be dealing with at all. But we will be seeing if this storm, we're waiting to see how fast the storm is moving to the north. 95L looks absolutely horrible. There is some more activity, deep thunderstorm activity happening northeast of the center of circulation. Very, very heavy amounts of rain over Galveston, and that cluster of thunderstorms does seem to be expanding north, and I wouldn't be surprised if portions of Houston start to get some more rain from this throughout the day as this storm slowly drifts north and brings in some of that heavier rain. Southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana. As you can see the little swirl of rotation down there. Nothing overly crazy. Not seeing anything super crazy here or here. Any comments, questions, or concerns, ladies and gentlemen, that I could answer? How do I keep looking at this? Interesting, it's the same image. There we go. Just noticing how we're getting all this deep thunderstorm activity with Chaba. I do think this thing is gonna seem to be intensifying quite quickly, and quite quickly and quite moderately here in the future. Look at the Storm Prediction Center because they aren't really showing anything super crazy happening over the United States in terms of severe weather. That's something I'm not totally worried about. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I'm gonna still talk a little bit about what Chaba will bring. Heavy rain. I do think wind could be a little bit of an issue. I'm going to find out in an area where it's going to be making landfall, and get an idea of what we could be dealing with here in terms of its landfall. So we'll be making landfall right in that area. I don't know any towns, cities that could be affected by it, but in that part of China, there will be anyone that lives in that area could see possibly hurricane conditions. Typhoon conditions, I should say, if this does in fact make landfall as strong as we're expecting it to. From what we're seeing right now, there's lots of deep thunderstorm activity. There are moderately large. There are moderate towns and cities in this part of China. Lots of roads. I mean, one of the most major towns is Guangzhou, which is northeast of where this is supposed to make landfall. Isn't too far from Hong Kong. Now, if this does it, now Hong Kong is still in the realm, still could be affected by the storm. That's still a possibility. Hong Kong could definitely is still expected, I should say, to be affected by this storm. They could get those outer bands. Some flooding is possible in that area, but lots of heavy rain from this for sure. As you can see, we move over here. You can see areas that are how far they are. So these you can see distance 320 nautical miles, 184 nautical miles, 216 nautical miles from these areas here. It is expected to make landfall, and we'll continue to we will keep y'all updated with the development of this system. Heavy rain, flooding, a big possibility for sure. That's gonna be a big issue. I don't know if I'm gonna look at. I want to talk about the flooding for China. I don't know if it'll let me look at that. So can I look at Europe? Actually, I kind of want tropical tidbits. I feel like tropical tidbits feels a lot easier and a lot more simple to use. That's not what I meant to click on. So you can see, this does show a farther western track. But as you can see, yeah, China's gonna get a lot of heavy rain and potentially a lot of flooding from this storm for sure. That is a bit certain possibility for sure. Flooding. How bad flooding? Flooding, QFS. Chaba, okay, look at that. Nothing. No. This is gonna be disgusting. Oh god, that is absolute. That's like, it's way too pixelated. No, these are going to be useful. That's for sure. Winds, you can see the center of the storm. You can see right through here where the common point of the storm is at. The one side of the storm is a lot more conductive, and the other side is a lot weaker. If we go through time here, we can get an idea of what we're looking at with this system. Certainly, as you go in time, you can certainly see deep thunderstorm activity, convection here in the eye wall. But then as it makes landfall, it falls apart. There, right before it makes landfall at 962 millibars. Yeah, you can certainly see stronger winds with this system. Flooding's going to be really, really bad. Now, according to weather.us, what my friends are saying, they're saying 57 inches of rain in the northern Philippines. Okay, we're going to go to the GFS. And then we're going to go to map section. freezing. And Manila. And we're going to look at perimeters. It's been a hot minute since I looked at weather.us. And we're going to look here in the future. Which I don't want to get this subscription because, yeah. It's taking so long. Just going to have to do this as slowly as I can and hopefully we get through this. So this is taking a while. Oh, we're at 37 inches over here in the Western Pacific. That's a lot. It's making rain. Hold up. What are we looking at here? Is there a storm? No. I just don't understand where this moisture would even come from. It shows this, then it shows that. Then it shows that massive typhoon that's expected to just develop out of practically nothing. And it literally develops at 998 millibars. Not anything crazy. Like, that's just freaking insane. So, flooding is going to be a huge issue for China. That's for sure. It's like being no questions. You want to go back and take a look at aircraft reconnaissance and see what they have found, if that's really been anything. Alright, they're starting to drop drop zones. And to get air pressure readings. So 1009, 1007 millibars they found. Way up here, 5007 millibars. Wind speed wise, it's flat. It's nothing. It doesn't exist. The wind speeds just don't exist. We're not finding any super duper strong winds in this storm right now at all. However, what we are finding right now, they're going to come right down here, right in that center, and see if they can find a defined center. But based on what I'm seeing, they have not placed an LLC marker where they have found a low level circulation. I'm hoping that will happen and that they will find those winds exceeding I will find it extremely easy to find. Hopefully they do find that center of circulation and location. Okay. I do need to go and back to weather.us and I need to do some stuff. Click on change time or change time. Oh, okay. So yeah, I can go to forecast. They have sunlight in this? So we're gonna take a look at the, I guess, GFS, because it goes out freaking 15 days. I forget I can change date and time. Yeah, it is extremely easy to do that. But what I'm more worried about right now is taking a look and seeing what we have with this system in terms of reconnaissance in the Atlantic, because that's what we need to be most worried about right now. That is going to be developing, and we're going to be getting that update on that soon. A little shadow. Unless there's two planes. O2O, NOAA. Oh, there are two. Okay. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, this is from Chaba. Oh, wow. From Zisha Radar Loop Rapid Improvements on the core. Ooh. Okay, recon. Alright, we're going to be looking at the reconnaissance here. What's this? Observations. This is what they found. 44 knots. That's flight level window. Or 50.6 miles per hour. Mean sea level pressure is 10 millibars. Estimated surface winds still are at 40.2 miles per hour. The H stop is very, very, very complicated, I'll be honest. I'll do a refresh on this. So, this is the latest update. We have not found, so far do not believe they have found a center. In terms of air pressure, they're still finding 10 millibars. Estimated winds are 30 knots at about 34.5 miles per hour. Go back to aircraft reconnaissance, you can clearly see that displayed here with these two systems. Oh wow. 1010, 1009. 1009, they are finding much stronger ones. I'm going to go back to this other aircraft reconnaissance. This one's aircraft reconnaissance. Is the for the Air Force? This is Air Force 035. They want to go back and see H stop. I can see 15 all the way down here. .09 millibars, 1009, 1009, 1009. Wind speed, I am more curious about the wind speed. 39 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. This must, should be surface wind speed, 40 miles an hour. Nearly 50, that was our peak right there at 51.8 miles per hour. This is flight level window, not surface wind. And that's not helpful. Dew point, surface. Yeah, the surface wind isn't going to do anything for us, honestly. They missed the center completely. The center's right there. You can see the little swirl right there. Little swirl of exposed center right there is the center. But they are finding tropical storm force winds. So who knows? We'll see if it does appear that they do have a center. But at this moment, they do not have located the center yet. They have not said, okay, it has a center. And that is currently what we are waiting on. Will they designate that as a center? Is that a closed low? It looks like a closed low based on satellite, but what do they actually find with these instruments that they have will determine if it is considered a closed low level center circulation. Again, they did find winds again of 40 knots, which would be at 45 miles per hour. So does this get an upgrade of 45 miles an hour? We will continue to give you that latest update and see what we find. I'm going to go back to the National Hurricane Center here. We are still waiting. Nothing from the National Hurricane Center saying an update. I don't think they will give an update. I don't think it is Tropical Storm Fani yet. They haven't found a closed low. If they do find a closed low, then we could get that possibility of an upgrade to Tropical Storm Bonnie. But from what I'm seeing right now, that does not happen. That does not seem to be indeed the case. Alright, I'm going to go back to... And then I'm also going to show y'all radar because we do have some stuff from Twitter. I do want to show y'all. This is the radar of Chaba. And look at this. This is what radar should look like. I wish I could zoom in. No, I don't want to copy. I just want to zoom in. Oh well. So as you can see here, look at that. You can kind of see that spinning right there. That's the center of the storm. So you can really see rapid improvements on the core with the center, and I do think that the storm is certainly intensifying and rapidly developing. For sure, I do think this is going through. Definitely developing very, very rather quickly with Chaba there in the west Pacific. I do think that is developing very, very quickly, and that the storm is going to. We could see this storm once again intensify to this system here in the West Pacific, intensify to hurricane force or typhoon force, with winds exceeding 64 knots, 75 miles an hour. That I do think could happen. Just based on the satellite imagery. Lots that support this could be a 50 mile an hour tropical system. This does look like it has a very well defined core. I do think that this could be a 50 mile per hour tropical system. I don't know when the next update from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is, but what they may get is they may think this is 50 miles an hour. I mean, look at that core. You can really see it spinning. It is obviously a low-level circulation. There's a mid-level circulation. They're both vertically stacked on the top of each other. It's not moving too fast, where it's creating its own wind shear. There's not too much vertical wind shear in this environment to disrupt the system. There isn't any really dry air. There's warm sea temperatures, 29, 30 degrees centigrade. There's really nothing there to really disrupt the system and to break it apart. It's a very well-developed system. From what I am seeing. All right, we do have we did find an area of axis. Beijing, the Chinese Meteorological Agency, has Chaba at 25 meters a second, 50 knots as a 1500 ETC. Wow. So they've upgraded it to a 60 mile per hour tropical typhoon. Because, based on what I'm seeing right here, it's a very well developed tropical system. You can see that center circulation right there. You can see it wrapping up and tightening up and looking a lot more well developed. There's heavy deep thunderstorm activity happening near or in the center circulation. But right now there's really nothing to say that this is not just a 45 mile an hour tropical storm. This looks much better than just 45 miles an hour, in my opinion. And based on what I'm saying, this could certainly be a little bit more powerful than what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is saying right now. And they're saying maybe a low-wind storm. If it's already at 60 miles an hour, as you just said from the CMA, I think that's the Chinese Meteorological Agency. I think it's stronger than what they are. It could be up to 60 miles an hour. I would say 50, maybe 60. I don't know. Oh crap. So that is what we have now. So I do want to pull up. We do have the ability to pull up all these other websites, and where we can actually find and see possibly all these other radar sites across the entire world. Not really radar sites. That's mine. These are all NextRad, which are very, 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 very helpful. I forgot where the storm is at. It's like down. It's radar site. Yep, Zisha. Holy shit, freaking radar range is fucked. Darn, the radar range is so tiny. With, range of imagery. I don't know where this is going to take me. It does not look like an American website. I would be right. Crap. Okay, radar. Trying to figure out how to access the radar right now and how to use this properly, so I can properly use this and work this properly. Okay, can I just refresh this? Because I know what radar site I want. It's this one right here. What's this? So it's gonna force me. It's gonna take me to this automatically because I'm trying to figure out how to work this properly. What if I just click play? What would happen? It says. There isn't nothing here. Crap. Radar's not available. Gosh dang it. I'm like, because I can't read any of these. Anything, period. Can't read any of this. No, that's not what I want, although that is good radar. Well, this will certainly be used, it will certainly be good in the future when we do have storms making landfall in these different areas around the world. Good Lord, I didn't realize how many radar sites China has. It's kind of incredible. Philippines don't really have. They maybe have 10, maybe. Radar sites in the whole country. Yeah, because it's like right here, and I don't know why it won't work. Man, this might not even be available to the public right now. Which wouldn't make any sense. That makes me upset that we're not even able to access this. It just says there are no new product updates during this period during the time. That's moments. Really? You're not gonna allow me to have my own. You're not gonna allow me to see my own radar. Rude. Which I don't know what any of this says. Okay, I have an idea. If I go to Zoom Earth, just whatever, I don't know. Zoom Earth, and then I go over to China. Probably not going to allow me to see. Yeah, no, it doesn't acknowledge this as radar, so that's wonderful. The radar sites are right here. Yeah, no, it's not working, which honestly really freaking sucks. Because I really wanted to take a look at this. And I really wanted it to work. And it's not working. So, let me try, because some of these others do work, like this one, most likely works. I have to click on this. It gives me the link straight to it. Yep, there it is, it works just perfectly fine. Yes, translate, because I can't understand anything on this entire page. And then if I click play, it will play. And there you go. You can see the motion of the radar. And it looks fun. I don't know why that radar site in China isn't working. Maybe it isn't open to the public and we're not able to access it. And it's a military website. I don't really know. But I do not have access to that radar site. And we don't know how to get access. But why does this not just loop? That's my question. Who makes a radar website and it doesn't auto loop? It just stops. It doesn't continue looping. What does this mean? It just stops. It isn't like a loop, which doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Alright, now I'm going to look at radar for O2L and see what we got going on in this part of the world. Very, very extremely limited radars. Okay. Here we go. Oh yeah. Very extremely limited radar sites in this part. Very, very limited amounts of rain. It needs to be more like up here, because that's where the actual storm is at. They have a radar site in the Panama Canal. I'll be honest, I didn't know that. If I'm being serious with you, I didn't know they had a... Sorry, we didn't get what you were looking for. Oh, okay, that's fine. And there's no radar sites. This one is going to be very, very helpful. Please work. I need you to work. Oh my god. One radar site in the path of the hurricane, tropical storm, tropical system, potential tropical cyclone, and it doesn't work. At all. Just doesn't work. Isn't that what you want? You know, don't you want things just not to work? That's just great. I like to click on the alternate link. Yes, I got it to work. I hit the alternate link and it worked. Let's go. Look at that. It's crazy. Look at that radar. Look at those rain bands. Isn't that cool? Okay, now what if I click on, because that's going to be cool, because this storm's going to come right here, or like, the radar site here. Oh. That's crazy. There's no radar sites in the entire country. That sucks. That sucks big time, if I'm being honest. So with what we have here, this is going to be an extremely helpful website because, well, it's going to be very helpful if this is exactly what I want and come right with this one teeny tiny, very small, you know, place. If it moves right on over, we'll be fine. It would work. It would work great. You know, wait, hold up. Do I have it up here? No, it's not this one. Is it this one? How fast does this go? It's like really just too fast. I mean, you can see things as far away as 200 nautical miles. That's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It has a decently good range. Obviously, it doesn't have a huge, gigantic, massively gigantic range. Is it time delay? About a 9. That's pretty good. A 9 is really good. As you can see, heavy rain making its way towards. That's gonna be really cool when we see this make landfall. That's gonna be really useful and obviously very, very helpful radar site when potential tropical cyclone 2, because that's what it's called right now, makes landfall. Now I'm gonna go back to tropical tidbits because I want to see if they found a core, and I'm looking on it right now. It doesn't appear that they have found a core. It looks like they went right around the eye, right around the center of circulation, and they completely missed for whatever reason. I don't know why they did that, but why do they not drop another drop zone in that center? The center is way down here. I don't know why they just missed the center, like, bruh. Whatever, there's nothing I can do about it. That's life. So, anyone have any other comments, questions, or concerns? Because right now we're going to be watching and seeing what this storm does over the next several hours. We'll be doing another update at 1 p.m. I don't want to keep this going on for much longer. An hour and a half is an extremely long stream, and most people don't want to sit here for 1.5 hours waiting and waiting and waiting. So, I am probably going to end the stream there. Where on earth did you get Jisha? Gonna do one more update on the aircraft reconnaissance. See, they just went like right around, perfectly right around it. Like they're just like, yep, the eye's over here, not over there. No way. I guess they're just taking a look and seeing what the conditions are like. PTC2, 35 knots, 1008 millibars. Hopefully the storm will be developing and becoming a much more powerful tropical system. As well, not hopefully, but that's what we are, in fact, expecting to happen. I'm going to look at the tweets with people. Okay, so we're going to go back to Twitter. I'm actually just going to go back to what he sent me earlier, and I'm just going to search for potential Tropical Cyclone 2 and then see if we get any. Just look at the tweets, and then we will most likely end it off there, because this is an extremely long stream already, and I don't like it when they're really long like this. I don't know, I just don't. There it is. According to Alex Bringham, let's look at the latest actually. RECON has confirmed that potential Tropical Cyclone 2 has a closed low, which we pretty sure expected. The issue is that convective coverage has still been. There's some more Twitter stuff. Okay. Has still been minimal over the center due to downsloping from Venezuela and Colombia. Once it gets away from Colombia, it should form and start strengthening. Oh Lord, couldn't move any faster. What is this website? Oh, severe weather. This is good. God dang, they got some severe weather there. And gosh dang, this is interesting. Level 2 is level 1 is severe, level 2 is severe, level 3 is extremely severe, and then you have lightning percentages. Green, yellow, and 50%. Okay. Wow. This is fascinating. There we have it. PTC2 has a closed circulation, but I'm not sure if it's classifiable yet, given the lack of conduction. Now, with what we have here, we do think that 4 p.m. I think is a good best idea to say that we will have the update, and I think they will say that we will have. They will say that we do have the tropical storm Bonnie on our hands. If we don't, then we don't. Really? Just want to search for the Tropical Cyclone 2. Latest on windy. So we're going to look at windy. And then that's the last thing I want to do before I close off. So as you can see, although now on windy, now it just looks like a tropical wave. It doesn't look like it's closed low. See, the wind's coming up here and down here. There's some winds coming here, some winds coming up, and it's all the way around. Like, dude, this random low over here just looks way better than whatever this is. We'll see. I'm going to take a look at so as you can see here, if we zoom into this area, wind condition at 90 degrees. Nothing super strong. Everything's really light. Not a lot of. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of rain because they are on the south side. And as you can see, look at radar, and we look at radar here. There aren't really any radar sites in this area, so that's not really going to work all in our favor. However, satellite is still going to work just fine. So you can still see there is a closed center of circulation here. I do want to put this into motion. You want to see once it gets loaded. I am probably going to end the stream off there. Thank you all for being here, subscribing, and watching us. We will do a more in-depth stream later today about this system if it does in fact get that name. We will certainly do a much more bigger and more in-depth update when their storm gets that name, and we will definitely also be doing live tropical updates and coverage of this storm as it makes landfall, and same with the storms in the West Pacific. Thank you all for being here and watching the stream. But that's gonna be it for today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you all later today. Have a wonderful rest of your morning